Joe, is that okay?
Of course.
The local paper.
Thank you for mentioning it. And I know you guys are recording.
Okay. Welcome to Bethel.
Thanks for the welcome. Glad to be here.
Yeah.
Gorgeous day, even with the sprinkles.
So I have one question is, how come there hasn't been any media coverage of your campaign?
That's what I'd like to know. I would say it's because the Democrats and Republicans have the power. They know it. And that's the way power works. When people have it, they don't want to give it up.
Yep.
And they didn't want me on the stage because I would be the only true alternative. They have this phony drama, these fake debates where they supposedly are different. But what I say is both of them want to make decisions for you. Both of them think Washington does a better job than you do at making your own decisions. Both want to spend your money. Neither one is doing anything to stop the crushing healthcare costs, and neither one is going to bring the troops home. So I would be the only one with the major differences. So of course they don't want me on stage because they don't want people to know that there's a real alternative.
And Joe, a lot of Americans said that neither one of the presidential candidates accomplished month in last week's debate. But your campaign manager said it accomplished a lot for you.
Oh yeah, it sure did.
Would you like to speak on that a little bit?
Sure. It accomplished a lot for me because our website slowed down to a crawl, even a halt. So many people were looking up my name afterwards because I think after watching that debate, they said, you know what, if these are the two I have to choose from, no, I'm going to go looking somewhere else. And so we've got a great website. We've been handling a lot of traffic, and it just was really overwhelmed on election or on debate night.
And what made you want to get into this race, and when did you decide to get into this race?
I got into this race because government is too big, too bossy, too nosy, too intrusive. But the worst part is they usually end up hurting the very people they try to help. And kind of the implied question there about like when did I want to get into politics, and so, you know, I still don't want to get into politics. I read Animal Farm in grade school, and I realized that yes, it's not fair to have an elite few make decisions for everybody else. In fact, some people also asked me if I was student body president or ran for student council, and no. When I got to high school, I was horrified that again, an elite few got to make decisions for everybody else. So I was never interested in running in politics. And then when I saw that we had such a bad system, it's like somebody had to step in and do it.
And in a time where Americans are so divided, how do you plan to bring Americans back together?
By letting them make their own decisions. I think that one of the main reasons that our country is so divided is that everything goes through the government. And a great example would be, for instance, education. Let's say you want to have prayer in your school, or vaccines, or masks, or online, or whatever, and your neighbor doesn't. The way the Democrats and Republicans do it is you guys got to battle it out. You got to pick your candidate, you got to send them money, you got to put a yard sign out, convince all your friends to vote. And then on election day, one of you is going to win and one of you is going to lose. The libertarian way is you get to keep your resources, and then you get to vote with your dollars every day. You get to vote with your feet every day. If you want a school that has prayer or masks or whatever, you can send your kid to that school, and your neighbor can send his kid to another school. You know, there are enough people with differences that we can have, you know, even small schools catering to people. But we've got a one-size-fits-all from the federal government that just isn't working. And that's what sets me apart, and that's why people are so polarized, because they have to make a decision. They have to decide on one way of doing things. I mean, imagine if we all had to get together and vote on election day, are we going to be vegetarians or are we going to eat steak? You know, that's what we're in right now, because our health care, retirement, education, everything goes through the government, so we have to fight it out, and it's wrong. This is land of the free. We need to be able to make our own decisions. Did you have a question?
No.
Okay.
So
I'll go back to
follow up on education.
Yes.
In this area, education is most of our municipal budgets, and it's a centralized school. Through this pandemic, there have been a lot of homeschool cropped up, and people can see that, yeah, we can do this. If we join together as a community, as a family, we can homeschool, especially our younger kids. What do you see as the changes on the federal level that would allow that to happen?
At the federal level, I would work to get rid of the Department of Education so that localities can make their own decisions. Education is a local issue. It should be decided among parents, teachers, and students. The needs of people in rural Appalachia, much different than the needs of downtown New York City, different than the needs of New England, and each locality should be able to make their own decision. And I don't even like Trump going up there and saying that the school should reopen, because again, we've got different virus rates in different parts of the country, different populations, different economics, that should not, the president really should have absolutely nothing to do with education. That should be the local level, and again, one area in which federal government is involved in it shouldn't be.
Thank you.
And I'd like to talk about Maine. You really cited you wanted to come to Maine because of the way we vote. We use the ranked choice voting system, and also our electoral votes were split in 2016. Do you want to talk about your visit to Maine and why you really came here?
Oh, well, first of all, we're trying to get to all the states, and the campaign is going to probably get to all the states except for 4. However, I got to tell you, as a candidate, I don't get as much say as most people think. The campaign team decides where the bus goes, but I told them, I said, if there's one state I want to get to, it is Maine. And Maine is actually the only state that I specifically said I personally am going, and not the VP candidate, because you do have ranked choice voting. You are doing it correctly. And especially in this election. In this election, we've got voting out of fear. And I have a lot of people come up to me after the speech who say, I'm a big supporter, but my friend is afraid that Trump's going to get elected. Or I'm a big supporter, but my friend is afraid that Biden's going to get selected. Nobody's voting for these 2 major candidates because they're excited and happy and passionate about it. They're doing it out of fear. And so Maine is doing it right because you're allowing people the chance to vote for what you really want. And then your second choice can be out of fear so that you don't have to worry. It kind of takes the fear out of voting. And my campaign slogan has been that you know best what's best for you, not the federal government. And I would say that Maine has done that very well. That at least you get to put down your choice of what you want, and then you can have your backup candidate.
So one thing that has become apparent to me, and probably to a lot of American people, is the life terms of senators and congressmen.
Yes.
Is that, to me, that seems that they can easily be bought off. They go in on a salary that is a middle class salary, and they come out millionaires. To me, that's a system that's broken.
Yeah, obviously. And let me say, I weekly come down on the side of term limits. The problem is addressing term limits is addressing the symptoms, not the core issue. If we had term limits, 2 things. First of all, it's possible that the parties might become stronger, and then they simply move around candidates as pawns. And secondly, as long as there's going to be power and money in the federal government, there are going to be people going after it. So you got to get rid of the power and money to get rid of the problem. But sure, term limits would be great in the meantime, but I'm not out there campaigning for that because I want to campaign for the real problem. We got to get rid of the real problem here.
And lastly, I think we're running out of time, but I think I got time for one more.
Sure.
Just a little more background on people. This is going to be published in the local papers. What do you really want people around here to know about you? What do you think is really important?
Well, what I said before, that I realize that they know better than any politician, bureaucrat in Washington what they need. They know what their family needs. They know how to spend their money better than any politician or bureaucrat in Washington. And I would say that the one message I try to get out to all voters is health care. Because we've been hearing politicians say that the free market doesn't work, so therefore we need to have single payer. Well, I would love to tell every voter in the country that explain how we haven't had a free market healthcare system in over a century, or almost a century, and that's why we have the problems that we have. If we had the free market, similar to what Singapore has, similar to what the state of Indiana has for their employees, then we would see competition bring down prices. And if you stay around for my talk, I'll probably end up talking about my car example, but I just want to say that when I hear the term Medicare for all, what I think is being a hospital for all, and that monopolistic system just did not work, and it would not work for me. That I want doctors and healthcare providers working for you, competing for your business. And by the way, the only two somewhat free market systems that we have in our healthcare field are LASIK eye surgery and cosmetic surgery. Those prices have gone down dramatically over the last 20 years, especially LASIK surgery. It's like miraculous. And they did so because of competition. Like in my hometown, we got a big billboard for LASIK surgery. But we don't have that with knee surgery or hip replacement or heart surgery. So we don't have any reason to shop around for prices. They don't have any reason to compete on price. Last question for you?
Let's go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, Joe.